Okay, we're going to make a veloute sauce today. Veloute is a roux thickened stock, white stock. We're going to use white chicken stock today. So I'm going to take 2 cups of white chicken stock and I'm going to thicken it with 2 ounces of roux. That is 1 ounce of fat, 1 ounce of flour that I've got here. So I'm going to let this melt. I have the heat on high just to melt the fat. I'm using butter today. We can go with different types of fat. Any fat that you add in is going to add flavor. My preference is butter, but of course with butter we can't get it too hot because it would burn. So we're just going to melt that fat, let it get bubbly to the point where we can actually hear it bubbling, and you can see that it's not melted all the way yet. So we're going to wait a little bit. And as it melts, the temperature increases and you'll hear it to start to bubble. Right there. At that point, that's when we'll just add in all the flour, just dump it all in. And then we can take a whip. We want to stir this very good. If you're pulling your whisk out of a bain-marie, you want to make sure that you don't have any flour or other stuff on your whisk. So I'm going to turn this down. So at this point I want this to slowly cook. I want to make sure that I'm getting around the edges here. It's very important that I get the edges stirred with my spatula, because if I do not, if I'm using only a whisk, it will brown around the edges here, all along here, and I will go from a white to a blonde to a light brown roux, and I don't want that. So you can see I'm bubbling. I'm getting nice and bubbly here. So I'm graduating just to a lightly colored roux. Now I've got dogs here. So a little bit more than I would for a bechamel. So what I'll do is I'll add in my stock in portions. So I'm add about 1/3 of it here. And you see it gets nice and thick very quickly. I have my second third. Settle down, you guys. Settle down. Settle down. Nothing like working at home. And then, of course, my last third. You gotta love it. Alright, so I've just got a roux thickened stock at this point. To this, I'm going to add some salt and white pepper. Salt and white pepper. You can see that it looks very thin at this point. This will thicken up rather quickly as it comes to a simmer. So I'll alternate between my spatula and my whisk, because my whisk cannot get into the corners and my spatula can't incorporate that roux as it thickens on the bottom. So I do want to kind of alternate between the two. Got some active dogs in the background. They love being with us. I have one dog that thinks I look pretty funny when I wear a hat. So you may ask, why am I wearing a hat at home? Well, it gets me in the mood. Makes me feel professional. Makes me focused. In a way, it's kind of like wearing my seatbelt. So anyhow, I've turned my heat down a little bit. I'm going to let this simmer for just a few minutes. I can go over from 5 minutes to about 30 minutes on a simmer, and that will give me the right amount of time. So I'm going to come back to this, and we'll finish up on part 2 of our veloute in just a minute.